So what does focus have to do with divorce? I'm Karen Covey. I'm a divorce advisor, attorney, and coach. And today in this video, we're going to talk about something that most people don't even think about when they're going through a divorce. And yet, it's something that can make a huge difference, not only in the way you go through your divorce, in other words, your experience of divorce, but in your outcome as well. But before we get into that, I want to tell you a little story. So there was a teacher, and the students in the class came in, they sat down, and the teacher said, "Okay, pop quiz." And she passed out papers on everybody's desk, and she put them face down like she always did. And then when she gave the signal, all the students turned over their papers. And this is what they saw: a black dot. And they looked at the teacher, and they were like, and the teacher said, "Here's the quiz. Write, describe what you see." And that's all she said. And the students were like, okay. And they all wrote something down. After a little while, the teacher collected the tests, and she stood up in the front of the class, and she said to the students, "I'm not going to grade you on this test or this quiz, but let's read what everyone wrote." And so she read all of the answers to the whole class. And she said, "I hope you learned something from this, because you see, what everybody wrote about was the black dot. No one described the white page, and yet they were both there." So what most people interpret the story to mean is that we all focus on the black dot of negativity, all the things that are wrong in our life, the sickness, the problems, the relationship issues. We're all focused on the black dot, and we don't see all of the things that we have to be grateful for, all of the blessings in life, all of the things that are going right, which if you look at the page, the white is much bigger than the black, but we see the black. So what does this have to do with divorce? Well, the obvious interpretation is the black dot is your divorce. And it's all the negativity, and when you're focused on everything that's ugly and wrong and horrible and challenging about your divorce, you forget about all of the things that are going right in your life. You know, the things that you have to be grateful for, the blessings that we all have just by being alive. And that's a good interpretation. I mean, it's the obvious one. But I think there's a deeper meaning to the story. And that deeper meaning has to do with the power of focus. You see, when most people are going through a divorce, they're not focused on anything. They're worried about their kids, their money, the house, the car, how are you going to do this, the lawyer, the court. You're worried about so many things that your focus is pulled in a lot of different directions. And so you're not really focused on anything. And the problem is that when you're focused like that, all you're doing is running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and you're all stressed out, and you can't actually create an outcome or the outcome that you want. You see, what you focus on expands. And if your focus is pulled in a million directions, you have none. You have no focus. And one thing that I've asked my clients when I work with them, one of the questions I always ask is, what do you want? And when I ask that question, most people say, well, I don't want this to cost a lot of money. I don't want to hurt my kids. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want the other thing. And they go on and on and on about everything that they don't want. And when they're done, I say, that's great. You know what? Thank you for that. I'm really clear on everything you don't want. Now let me ask you again. What do you want? You see, there's a big difference between knowing what you don't want and knowing what you do want. And most people, when they're going through a divorce, they focus on everything that they don't want to have happen. But they never stop to think about what they do want. And when you know what you want, you set a clear goal for yourself. And then you can work towards that goal. And that makes everything in your divorce, number one, easier. Not that it's going to be easy no matter what. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that when you have a clear goal and you know what you're going towards, A, you have a better chance of actually hitting the goal because you have one. And so you have a better chance of creating the outcome in your divorce that you really want. And B, as you go through your divorce, you're better able to separate out what matters and what doesn't. And that makes all the difference. So I know this is kind of an unusual topic when you're talking about divorce, but it's an important one. And I hope I've given you something to think about. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time in the next video. Bye for now.